is going on, Wolfpack Nation? We are here today, finally, for another episode of our Tuffy Talk Weekly live show. So thank you all so much for tuning in here. First of all, again, as always, make sure, again, send us a comment, let us know who's here with us as you come. Also, too, any questions, thoughts that you have as well. But again, looking forward to an exciting show today as we're going to be talking about a bunch of things. Obviously, starting off with the 613 DLD football announcement from football, and then we're going to be jumping into the commitment of Zoe Brooks for women's basketball, talking about Debbie Antonelli's Hall of Fame, our national championship winner in cross country, so all those things. And also too, we'll be going into our Tuffy's mailbag as well. So for those who send us your comments, make sure again to keep an eye out for those each week, because again, we basically put a tweet out there asking for questions from you, the fans, to answer here live on the Tuffy Talk live show. But that being said, we'll go and jump into it first again with our Tuffy's weekly read Ryan. So with that being said, here we go. All right. So with that being said, again, we're going to be starting off here with the 613 announcement, which, was quite the buildup for sure for a couple weeks now. But for those who don't know, a couple of weeks ago, NCAA football tweeted out basically just 6.13 or like June 13th or something like that. And, I think everybody's first reaction, including ours, was, oh, sweet, they're going to talk about the new uniform this year. And basically what came out was basically would look like almost a stamp or like a sticker that says D Leary delivers. So it's now the hashtag DLD13, which
I thought it was a pizza service.
Yeah,
I mean, like, okay, that's weird, but okay.
Well, and the only thought that kind of goes to my head, which kind of makes sense of why they did it like this, is because like obviously heading into the season, I think that all of us could agree that Leary could have, if things go well, a Heisman candidate kind of year for sure. He could be in that conversation. And so I think that maybe kind of the thought is, well, if we can kind of put out, a hashtag or basically just like some media push, through a hashtag, if people use hashtag DLD13, blah, blah, then it goes viral, then it kind of, I guess, gets some more national publicity towards him. Like that's kind of the only thing that kind of comes to mind of why it really makes sense, because everybody across the board was pretty much saying that's it, like, okay, like cool, like yeah, he's great, but just that's not even was a thought in our heads of what it was going to be. So I don't know, kind of curious what y'all's thoughts are.
For me, like I don't know, it was like, yeah, it was kind of underwhelming, but at the same time, all they did was put out 2 tweets with the date on it. It's like they didn't, weren't promising anything. It was just,
sure,
I don't know, but like you said, I think the fans expected a little bit more. But what you were saying, Leighton, I think it's a kind of a campaign to hype up Devin Leary, because, like you said, if he has a really good year again, and NC State is really good, and he could definitely be in the Heisman conversation, and the earlier that's talked about in the season, is better. Like, unless like you can't really, I mean, wait till like week 6 or something and start talking about him. Like the more publicity, the better from the beginning of the season.
Unless you're the quarterback from Alabama, then all you have to do is pretty much just wait for one good SEC championship game, and then bam, you're in the Heisman.
You just have to exist, essentially, and you're good.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
but that's kind of the point, because Alabama doesn't have to do that because they're Alabama. But for somebody from NC State, you gotta start that noise early. Yeah,
I get you. I hear you. And let us know in the comments as well what your thoughts as well. But go ahead, Greg.
For me, I just think of it as a placeholder. Just, hey, keep this in the back of your mind. So when not if, when D Leary delivers, takes off, it's already there, and then people can roll with that. But my first thought was, after kind of the unofficial hype of it, if you've seen that GIF where that woman just kind of goes, like, looks around, like, what was that all about? I kind of felt like that was what what the moment was for me. I was like, oh, we waited a week for this.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But hey,
let me go back and check my work email.
It worked. It hooked you in.
It did.
It's
and
marketing.
that's, I think, the whole point of it, right?
Right. Yeah. I just thought it. I mean, I didn't think it was jerseys. I thought this seems too easy for it to be jerseys. So I was like, I thought it was something different. I just didn't know what to expect. And especially since I haven't heard any announcement come out with the Adidas contract, which runs out in June this year.
2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks.
They haven't announced anything new. So I would expect an announcement to come out first before there would have been jerseys. So that's why I didn't think that. But I mean, I kind of agree. I agree with your sentiments, guys. Leary deserves to be lauded with the recognition. I'm not. I think guys like C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young and all those guys, Tyler Van Dyke's even getting from Miami's even getting some talk about that. I think those guys deserve it. But I think Leary just seems like I don't know. He just seems like a guy who's not really getting a lot of attention. I don't know. He just isn't, and that's okay. But I think this is a good way to do that. You're kind of making up for what the national media may not give you, and I think recruits will notice it. I think so. It'll be a good one-stop place for everybody to go look at all his accolades as the season builds up. And I was thinking about it. On part of it, they list like his career bests. I gotta imagine that, especially after the way he played last season, they're just going to put the ball in his hands and give him the best chance. The goal is obviously not for him to win a Heisman. The goal is to have like a 10-win season, championship winning season. But if they do that and they're riding on their best player offensively, in my opinion, then Devin Leary, then he can have like his rushing yards. His best rushing yards was 20.
Yeah.
Kind of wondering if they got, okay, let's see if we can, some of these categories, we can spice these up a little bit, just, in the middle of the game, call it a designed run play if we can get it. 20 yards is long, but I don't know. It seems short when you compare it to guys like Malik Cunningham or I don't even know who the running quarterbacks in the ACC are now. DJ Uiagalelei. So
I mean, Sam Hartman's probably in that conversation, of running quarterbacks, but but so one kind of question I wanted to kind of ask y'all, because this was brought up on a recording that will be coming out the next week or two. But somebody said, talking about the Miami game this past season, saying you can't lose a game like that to Miami. But really looking back at it, knowing that basically the head coach was coaching for his job, on top of now that we know how good Tyler Van Dyke is, was it really that bad of a loss? I mean, really? I mean, I know that it was like, obviously, it came out that, he's a heck of a quarterback. So I mean, I don't know. And again, just like, and also too, again, you got to add in the fact that there wasn't a game that was probably more must win for them than that game. They had to win that game, otherwise the coach
turned their season around for sure.
Oh yeah, it probably turned the program around. I mean, just like, but I honestly too probably would have done Miami a favor from a national publicity perspective, so that they didn't have to do that clown show of a coaching search, while the head coach was still employed. But anyway, so I was kind of curious about that. But second of all, so kind of heading into this season, what would you guys say? And again, I think we probably need to do like an episode kind of talking about this separately. But where would you say Leary's ceiling is in terms of being on the list of the greatest NC State quarterbacks of all time?
Oh man, I don't even know if part of me is like, not like to be a slight. Yeah, I'm like, are we even really ready to have that conversation? Part of me thinks that a little bit, and here's why: he's not done yet, and I think he's on track to be a better quarterback than Finley. I think he's on track to even be a better quarterback than Jacoby. I think you could even get to a point where he's a better quarterback than Glennon. I think he probably so.
Well, because even impact alone, because that's for me, Jacoby Brissett's higher probably on my list than most people's list because of the impact that Jacoby, in hindsight, really made on the program.
I would agree with that. I think right now, in my opinion, Jacoby is like third on that list, besides like Roman Gabriel and all those guys. But out of the recent memory ones, like Rivers, Wilson, I think
Glennon.
in my mind I think of
Rivers.
Wilson, Rivers, Brissett, Finley. Who's the other guy I'm blanking on? Glennon. So I think of those kind of recent, maybe last 20 years. That's what I think of. But I don't get me wrong. I don't think Brissett's top 3 all time. Don't get me like that. But I think you could have the argument that Leary may be in the conversation for, is he a top 5 quarterback all time at State? I think you can get in that conversation.
For me, he's fringe. You guys are
6, 5 or 6 is what I was really wanting to say. So
yeah, because you guys are forgetting one quarterback that's a little. It's past the 20 years, but Eric Kramer was a heck of a quarterback for us back in the 80s.
Daniel Evans.
All right, we're done. we're gonna cut this one short.
No,
Eric Kramer was good. I just obviously I'm showing that we got roasted a little bit too when we did like the top 5 players all the time too. So I'm just saying the last 20 years, but
20
I think
for sure.
I think it's in discussion. I just think it's like, look, if he has, let's say, how about this? Maybe this helps out. Let's say he just repeats what he did last year. Let's say, and when I say repeat, let's just say he gets 36 touchdowns and resets the record by 1 touchdown. And let's say he throws, the same number of touchdowns. He gets the 10th win. Where does that specifically? What does that make you fall? If he gets and then I think let's assume he does not win a championship.
Yeah,
then you have the conversation if he does.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so Rivers nor Wilson won a championship, so that's a wash there. So if he gets the championship, that probably puts him
that makes a big
in
difference.
2. Definitely 2, maybe.
You're
1.
saying so without it, then where do you have him? Because I'm
we're
curious
talking
how much the weight of a championship plays in here.
Yeah, so it's a lot because if you think about it, so just put it back, we haven't won a championship in over 40 years, or almost 40 years.
87.
79.
Since Eric Kramer,
87
right?
basketball, sorry.
Yep. Yeah, that's okay.
Wasn't Kramer the quarterback last time we won? No?
79.
Oh,
79.
That's even farther back.
Yeah, before Kramer. So if you put it in that perspective, I don't think he battles Rivers for number 1 just because Rivers had so many national records when he left State. A few of them have been broken since, but I think it puts it number 2. And the reason here's this question: do you put the Gator Bowl champion or the Gator Bowl win over Notre Dame? Would you say that's higher than an ACC championship win?
What year was that game? It was early 2000s.
It was like
2002.
it was like 99, 2001, somewhere around there. I can't remember. Not like 2001. I think it was 2001, 2002 season. I think that's what it was.
I think so.
Here's where I would lean towards it. Yes, it would be bigger, but I think
I agree.
And here's why. I think we beat a Notre Dame team in their heyday.
Yeah.
And on a neutral site, not even like it was on neutral site, right?
Yeah, it was down in Jacksonville.
Yeah. So you're beating them in their heyday on a neutral site, and that was a big deal. But I don't think the flame of that lasted too long. I don't think we capitalized on it, and I think
we didn't really.
In this day and age, with social media being what it is too, I think playing and winning a championship, having beaten out Clemson in that regard, and what they represent, then going and winning against the Coastal, whoever it is. Let's say it's Miami if they consider it. So let's say you go and beat Miami, who I don't think has a really good reputation right now, but Van Dyke is an exciting name. You have a duel of the young quarterbacks, and both are draft eligible, I believe, this year.
Yes.
So they win the game. I think there's a changing of the guard in the ACC, personally.
Okay, can I add one more layer?
Go ahead.
What about, do you count the off the field, i.e. River, because of Rivers and Amato, we have, well, it used to be Von Towers, and we'll get to that in a few minutes, but adding that whole, the step up in class in the stadium, do you count that as part of the argument?
I mean, go ahead, Michael.
I think it's important to note, but I don't think it's a major factor. And I think that there might be, I think that there's still changes for Carter Finley planned.
Yeah.
Upgrades.
Oh, I can already see it in my mind.
Yeah.
Like that's where the screen is, just closing that in.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like that would be that's the next thing.
That
So
has to be the next thing, right?
besides,
or adding
well,
besides
another
the
layer.
east side bathrooms.
Yeah.
Well, let me just throw a stat out there. So I actually found this, but it's actually back in March. David Hale joint posted this saying this very interesting stat saying quarterbacks over the last 15 years with 35 with at least 35 passing touchdowns, 5 or fewer interceptions, 3,400 passing yards, and 65% completion or better. Case Keenum, Cody Kessler, Marcus Mariota, Mac Jones, Devin Leary. And so he's, I mean,
that's a unique list too.
Yeah. Cody Kessler.
Yeah.
Surprised me
Some
to see
got
him
hung
on
out
that
with the
list.
Heisman. A few were kind of like not really. And
well, I mean, obviously look at, Case Keenum's journey overall, I mean, obviously not necessarily just what he did in college, but NFL as well. He made his splash, but yeah, he had his moment. But again, it just, to me, I feel like, let's put it this way, with quarterbacks, it's very obvious with, first of all, the Tom Brady talk about how it's very clear that with quarterbacks, championships says a lot of things, that championships really can bump you up or down a few spots. And so to me, if Leary wins an ACC championship, I think you have to find room for him in the top 5 somewhere. You have to find him.
I think
top 5 is easy at that point.
Yeah. No. So that's basically where my head is at. Like, I'd have to go back. I'd have to really think about my top 5, but I'm like, I'd have to find him somewhere. But even still, like, I think that if he can do just as good, and potentially, even better, potentially, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, with how this offense should be, it's an interesting conversation. Again, they're not necessarily want to not lock anything in stone, but just it's obvious, kind of like as we're getting closer here. I mean, again, we're not too far away from kickoff, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
it's like,
and I'm going to say this too.
Yeah.
I want to be more clear. I think if State, hypothetically, knock on wood, if they did win a championship, I think Leary is the second best quarterback we've had. Personally, I think from what he's in the program. I think what he means to the program, yes.
I would agree with that. I think championships mean a lot, especially when they're hard to come by for NC State.
Rivers is like number 1 up there. What he's meant to the program, right? He did all the accolades, beat Notre Dame, went on to be an NFL great quarterback. Okay, I realize Greg is like really like making you are such an idiot, but
no, I don't think you're an idiot.
My thing is though, like, okay, Wilson. People usually go Rivers Wilson automatically, if not having Roman Gabriel, you throw that in there. They put Kramer. You're right. I missed Kramer, but
no, you're fine. My
thing is, people put Wilson there, but Wilson was here for 3 years, and he was electric when he played. And but he didn't get a championship, and he left State early. And he's an NFL quarterback. He does claim NC State a heck of a lot more than he claims Wisconsin. I think more in private, it seems like. So there's weight there, but I think what he's meant to the program, it's been a lot, but I think what Leary could do, winning a championship, having a Heisman talk. I don't think Russell Wilson ever got that kind of talk. And I think Rivers the only other one who may have, besides Roman Gabriel or whatever kind of talk, whatever that was back then. So I'm kind of, I think what he would mean for the program. And then if he has, a career, I'm not going to say he's going to be Drew Brees.
Well,
personally, I think of him like a poor man's version of Drew Brees is what I think of him. But I think what it means I think what he means to the program would be valuable. I think he'd be in the number 2 spot personally.
Well, let me say this. That I think that with Leary, it's one thing that I would have to kind of throw in there as well is that Tim Beck needs a lot of credit. I'll just say that. I think Tim Beck has really molded Leary a lot, and has really kind of helped him gain a lot of confidence, a lot of excitement. But yeah, I mean, because to me, first of all, one thing which I'll say is that I think that if we win the ACC championship, I don't know how Leary's not in the Heisman conversation. I think that for anybody else, if Leary's not in the Heisman conversation, but wins ACC championship, that to me is just more, disrespect towards Leary, because I mean, again, the ACC is tough this year. Everybody in the media has got to understand that if we somehow get out of the Atlantic and win the ACC championship, the only way we did that is with a elite stud Heisman contending quarterback in Devin Leary. That's the only way we do it.
And a defense, I would agree. But yeah, you
Sure.
you're part of that is you had an elite quarterback.
Yes, you have to have that. But this year especially, the Atlantic is absolutely filthy this year.
Side note, I know we know this, but I think some fans know this, but people are sleeping on Wake Forest for whatever reason this year. I don't understand it either. So it's I get because State's getting the talk. Pittsburgh just won last year, and they're not really anything. And then you have the Tyler Van Dyke and the concept of Olds Clemson. They're going to be back. But Wake Forest, if the argument for State is that we returned everybody, Wake Forest is returning about the same numbers. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing with Wake is their defense. It wasn't very good last year, and they lost a couple of the best players. They're almost their whole offense is returning, so their offense is going to be very good again. But I think it's the defense.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what I was about to say too.
100% it is. Yep.
So with that being said, we need to take a cut here because we still got so much to talk about here, but definitely hope you all enjoyed that. So with that being said, though, we will jump right on over here though to Tuffy's tweets of the week. Here we go. All right. So with that being said, our first tweet of the week is
I didn't think you actually used that one.
Of course I'm going to. It's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
It's hilarious. So for those who are listening in with us, JC Hoops tweeted out saying Arkansas this year made the Elite Eight in NCAA basketball, made the Supers, regionals in softball, made the College World Series in baseball, won their bowl game. Tennessee didn't. And that's literally the tweet.
That was so funny.
Again, it's kind of funny how literally within a couple of weeks the talk went from absolute hatred of Vanderbilt because of the Vandy Whistler conversation, what Mincer did calling out the Vandy Whistler, to basically Tennessee, you are enemy number one. Nobody likes you. Go home. And obviously it started off with a lot of things, including the baseball player flicking off whoever, while he was doing his home run try.
He deserved to lose.
And then obviously the batter cussing out the umpire and then be like, you threw me out? What?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So exactly. And then, obviously I think that most, fans, including myself, still think about the Tennessee coach and be like, man, that dude he's over the top. He's intense. A drama creator.
Yeah.
He's intense.
Yeah.
He's intense. So
yeah.
And again, for literally now, 2 ACC teams for the last 2 years have been the top overall collegiate seed from the SEC. And also, too, I got to give it to Notre Dame saying that, and I saw a tweet about this saying that Tennessee was supposedly in the conversation for being possibly the best college baseball team of all time.
Yeah, Danny
which obviously now is completely out the window. It's not even a conversation now, but I mean, obviously, they went 58 and 56 and 3, something like that.
Oh,
something like that.
Well, they had 9 losses. They had 9 losses.
Oh, 9 losses. But it was single digit. It was single digit.
Yeah.
I do know that.
It was.
So I mean, they were super impressive this year. But yeah, no, just had to bring that up, and also to give a nice bow and a nice thank you to our friends at Arkansas. We appreciate you letting us get out of last year out of Arkansas with the win, and we appreciate y'all getting out of Chapel Hill with the win this year. So we appreciate it. So Greg, anything to add on this?
The only thing I might add is this probably fuels even more of the Link Jarrett to FSU talk that was probably already there. So that move would not surprise me in the least now, given that he's made it to the College World Series with Jarrett being a FSU baseball alum. So definitely look for that to intensify over the next couple of weeks after the season's over.
That'd be an interesting move.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not like Notre Dame doesn't have the money to keep him there. They could just pay him what FSU is going to pay him, and then
weather's a lot better in Florida. I'll tell you that.
I would wonder though what Jarrett thinks about Tommy White with his son having some personal insight on that situation too. What do you want?
No, it's all interesting.
You can be like, you can't turn White be like, look, you come on my team, we're going to set the record straight.
Right. That'll
That's
be
an interesting
interesting.
thought.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I
But,
wanted to share about that. I just thought that from a
Yeah.
different
White
angle.
to Central Florida.
I mean, I honestly thought I honestly thought that Florida would make more sense for him. It's much more of a baseball central program. I mean, they consistently year after year have a great college baseball program, and it's his home state or whatever. And also too, it doesn't really piss anybody. Like obviously for us state fans, it would piss us a lot more if he went to our division rival than if he went to the SEC. Like what I mean. So it's just kind of like I feel like if he went to Florida, it'd be kind of like a
Whatever.
all right, fine. But if he goes to FSU, it's like, how dare he? Like, but just
He might get hit.
Exactly. So, all right. So jumping in next, huge announcement: Zoe Brooks, top 40 guard, if I'm not mistaken, for 2023, committed to NC State. Had a slew of offers, and from everything I've been hearing in terms of scouts talking about her and her film, she is filthy for sure. It's another huge win in the storybook of recruiting wins for Westmore. It's honestly crazy. Like just seeing this repeatedly, us getting these top. Obviously, first of all, with the announcement of Sanaya Rivers from South Carolina coming in as a transfer, and then this news about Zoe Brooks coming in for the year after. It's just crazy to think how, again, 10 years ago, we were, middle tier ACC, on the top 25 borderline. And then here we are, with multiple straight ACC championships, our first regular season championship since the KL era. And then now we're just, again, every single year, just reloading. Like it's so clear. We are reloading every single year. Not rebuilding, reloading every single year. So it's
I was thinking
crazy.
of the concept where we look at other schools like Duke or Kentucky in basketball or Alabama in football. It's like where the rich just get richer. And I feel like you can argue that with NC State women's basketball right now. Like it's just like they just keep breeding success after success here. So it's a win, big win for State. I mean, I feel like you're going to have her coming off the bench, probably behind Diamond. If Diamond, is Diamond is she eligible this year to leave? Year 3. It'll be year 3 for her.
Yeah.
It'll be year 3 for her.
Yeah, but no one leaves. I mean,
it's
either
way. My point was that it'd be
that's true.
Something that she could be the future behind.
Oh yeah,
Diamond's what I'm getting at. So
yeah. Well, and again, I mean, even if she does stay, which I mean, I agree with Greg. And again, we got to talk about too. But yeah, go ahead, Macon.
I was gonna say, and she's a point guard, so she's like the quarterback of the team. So now
Right.
you know who's gonna be the distributor. That should draw some other players to follow.
True.
And I think she actually played the same AAU team with Diamond, AAU team, not at the same time
She's
as
from
Diamond.
New Jersey, right?
Yeah, but she plays like in the Philly circuit because Jersey and Philly are next door neighbors.
Right.
So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and again, so it's can't say enough how exciting it is, to be where we are. And obviously too, I got to say this too, that once again, that just, it bugs the crap out of me. I really do want to support the WNBA, but it just bugs the crap out of me that, we can't see players like Hunain, players like Raina, players like Kayla Jones that, just have all the talk is just
a roster spot somewhere.
No.
Nope. She's not on a roster anywhere.
So, I know Raina's playing down in Mexico.
Yeah. And then Hunain's basically struggling to hold on to a spot with the Minnesota Lynx, actually. So again, that's kind of my biggest gripe with is like I want to support it, but again, just right now it's not really that interesting to me or to most State fans because you want to see your people, especially players like Hunain that deserve to be there. So it's
a very veteran laden league.
Exactly, it is exactly. All right, so with that being said, we will jump on over here to one of the biggest achievements from this past week, which is Caitlin Tuohy winning national champion. So again, I mean, just unbelievable. She won it. I forgot in the 5,000 meter. 5,000 meter. Yep.
Yeah.
So again, just another national champion coming back alongside the women's doubles national championship and then the cross country national championship. So I've had 3 different national champions this year. Am I correct on that?
Yep.
3 national championships.
Pretty impressive.
Yep.
Pretty impressive indeed. And obviously, too, no shocker there. Caitlin Tuohy got first team All-American, but she ran 5,000 meters in 15 minutes and 18.39 seconds. So again, just a phenomenal
That's
year.
so
And then, well, and again, I can't wrap my mind around it. I couldn't even.
He ran the 5,000 meter in how much? 15 minutes.
She basically ran a
15 minutes.
5K in 15:18. She ran a 5K.
Right.
Yeah.
She ran over a little over 3 miles in 15 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
So a 5-minute, 6-second mile was what she averaged.
That's crazy.
That is like,
Crazy.
again, that's like sprinting a 5K.
That's so fast.
Pretty much the entire time. That's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes you kind of wonder, and it kind of like asking, like, is cross country / track and field low key building kind of a dynasty over here? I mean, geez, they've just been going up and up and up. I feel like, over the last couple of years, and now multiple national champions during the same athletic year. I mean, now again,
State is a women's sports school, I guess now.
right. Well, I mean, obviously, I for those who haven't seen, Oregon has a track and field that is just pretty much on the Olympic level. I mean, just check out pictures. Just Google Oregon track and field. It literally is like an Olympic stadium.
I know somebody who went for the Olympic qualifying stuff last year. I think it was, or 2 years ago. They went there to go to Oregon to watch it, and it said it's like the cream of the crop, like you guys were saying.
Yeah,
I mean, it definitely helps when Nike builds it for you.
Yeah,
right. Well, Phil Knight, went to Oregon. Then he was also on the track team. He was a runner, which I think he put a lot of extra hype into it as well.
And that's where the championships were. That's where she won the 5K.
Yeah,
gotcha.
That's the permanent home of it.
That makes sense. So now bringing up next tweet, which is from men's basketball, which is a picture of LJ Thomas, Big T, and a couple other players getting hype. Looks like on the practice court, and it seemed like from some of the comments that it was a kind of like I guess what is it called, a match or a game between probably the team split up into two kind of deal from some of the smack talk in the comments. So I mean, Macon, what was your kind of initial thoughts, seeing a picture like this? Because to me, it's like it's cool to see Big T get excitement, kind of grow that camaraderie with the team, especially some of the new players like LJ.
Yeah, I was just pumped to see Turquavian back in NC State gear for next season. That's all I mean. But I mean, the team seeing that was that's fun to see. For some reason, I just feel like there's seeing this. You didn't see this a lot last year for some reason, at least marketed. So it's encouraging. But man, just seeing right there, those two guys on the right side, Jarkel Joyner and Turquavian, those guys are going to be your starting 1-2. And then the other guy was Breon past there, but and LJ Thomas. It's going to be. I'm cautiously optimistic about this season. I think they will be a team that's in the top half of the league. I think after being in the last place. So I think they could even. I think they could be at least. I think they're going to be at least that. Barring injuries, it's crazy when you think about the fact that you lost the players you did, and you're going to lose Darion Sebron, Manny Bates. I'm trying to remember who else you're losing.
Helms.
So these are 3 core pieces, and you may likely be better next year.
Yeah,
which is interesting because we did it by using the transfer portal. So it's kind of almost like we still want to go after the big high school players if we can get them, but the transfer portal is something where you can use so quickly to replenish your team. And they're proven college players too. So it might be on a different level, but they're proven. Like DJ Burns, Wofford player. He's going to come in, and I think he averaged 15 points a game as a post player. So seeing that picture is really, heartwarming, fun, cool to see, but it gets me excited seeing that because those guys look like they're genuinely having fun. And that brings good teamwork, especially when you have so many new guys coming in. You need that teamwork. Like we mentioned, they're going to go on the overseas trip for a tournament. That's going to be big for their unity of the team, their camaraderie.
Yeah,
so that kind of stuff like that is really cool to see.
I'm excited for LJ Thomas because I feel like with all the transfers, he's kind of gone under the radar, and he probably won't have a lot of playing time, and this next year with Terquavion and Jarkel starting at the 1-2 and being the main guards there. But the year after, I think he could be really important piece.
Now, let me ask you this, Greg, because one of the other big pieces of basketball news that happened earlier this week as well was the acquiring of a former Arizona State and UK assistant, Joel Justice, to complete the staff. And to me, again, we went into this offseason saying he has to have a great offseason, not only just for the sake of the season, but for the sake of the fan base, for the sake of ticket sales, for the sake of just the excitement of this team heading into the season, and to me, I feel like that between what he's done with the players and now what he's done with the staff, because again, anybody who says that the assistant coaches don't matter, just look at the players that Joel Justice has brought in, has worked with, has recruited. And I mean, it screams, wow, what a get. And I mean, what would you kind of grade, Kevin Keith's offseason so far, if you had to give him like a letter grade? I'm curious.
Are we giving him a grade
C-
for staff?
Kidding.
Overall
Staff.
moves that he did this offseason. So staff, players, you name it. Like, I mean, and it kind of even be like, how do you feel about it? Like, again, not necessarily like,
So I'm gonna kind of be funny, but not be funny. I'm gonna give him an incomplete because we won't know until the season plays out, right?
Sure.
It's not a boo. It's not a boo.
Don't you boo me.
Don't you boo me. No,
Yeah.
I guess if I'm going to give him a grade, I'll probably give him a B-.
Okay.
I like the
That's fair.
incomplete. It's fair. The incomplete's totally fair. I was just messing with you.
Yeah, no, I know. But so if we're talking staff-wise, I give him a solid B+. He checks all the boxes. We got a bigs coach in Watkins, and now we got good guard coaches with just the guy from Clemson. I'm just totally drawing a blank. Thank you. Yeah, Kareem Richardson, and then with this latest addition, and Joel has developed 4 recent players into the NBA, so that's a great thing. He has an eye for not only helping to recruit the talent, because I think he was the lead recruiter at least one of the stops, maybe both. If my memory serves me.
Kentucky. He was the guy. I think that was the main guy for Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say the same thing. We can thank him for stealing Bam from us. Everyone thought he was the lock. So he either he was a great recruiter or he was the bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Take it wherever you want.
Fix the problem by hiring the guy who stole him from you. So like, not run that problem again.
If you can't beat him, hire him. So
exactly.
No, exactly. I do think we have some great coaches, and I think Coach Keats checked all the boxes in his in recruiting of these coaches. He brought back the state alum with Watkins, brought a big time recruiter with Justice, and just a solid coach all while with Richardson. So I'm happy with it. But again, the proof will be in the pudding come the fall and the wintertime.
Sure.
Yeah, I think one thing's been interesting if you read his bio that it sounds like he's a big analytics guy.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
I think that was a very strategic hire also for Keats, because you bring in all of those guys are considered to be very well respected recruiters.
Mm-hmm.
And we mentioned on paper, like, this is so much better than Roy Roberson and Mike Sumney and James Johnson. James Johnson was pretty good, but Roy Roberson came from a high school team.
No college experience.
Yeah, I think Mike's so this is gonna be, I think it's a big deal, but I think the analytics side, he could probably be able to do that. I would love to see that side of things, him analyzing films. Okay, maybe we run a triangle and 2 here on some of these type of offenses, like, to be like, why would we do that? But it's like, well, we're winning, so who cares? Almost like it's a version. I like the analytics guy. I like the movie Moneyball. I get it's a little different, but it's like that whole side of things is really interesting to me. So that's it. I think Keats realizes obviously this is a do or die year for him. So
it is.
Having a guy who's big recruiters, which I will say this, I don't think you're going to see the recruiting side play into this year right now because they're pretty much done.
Sure.
So it's going to be next year.
Done.
But I think getting him in was important for Keats.
To your point making, I think the analytics side of it, I think we'll be better prepared, scouting other teams before we play them. And just, I think we're just going to be all around better prepared. And so if nothing else, that's already a win in my book, because I thought so many times we weren't prepared and we didn't make great in-game adjustments. And, hopefully with the analytics part, we can make great in-game adjustments. And so many times we had a lead and we just couldn't hold it. And, just didn't fare well. So
well, because just one thing to remind too, and again, I'm not trying to say necessarily that Keats needs to be like Doran, but I'm saying that Doran, I feel like, has done the right moves when he needed to. One of the things which I know about him from when I was a part of staff is that he is very analytical driven. Like, he has a guy pretty much in his ear telling him, like, if you're at fourth and such, on this yard line, you have a such and such percentage likelihood of converting, stuff like that. Like, stuff going through his head, telling him, what to decide in certain situations. And so same thing that, if you could bring the analytics level to Keats, but also to the play calling, I think that's one of the biggest things that State fans are looking for heading into the season is more, scheduled or more, more play calling, more strategical play calling, not just isolation ball basically between Sebron and Big T. So I think that's one of the biggest things. But to me, I feel like that Keats done a great job filling holes this year, with not necessarily names that scream off the list, like like the transfer from Baylor or something like that, where it's like a big name, like, but it's guys that fill the holes that we need. We needed help with point guard. He got help at point guard. We needed help with shooting. We got that. We needed height at shooting. We needed height at the guard. He got height at the guard.
Yeah.
So which is, I think, one of the biggest issues we had last year was that we were mostly pretty shorter, undeveloped guys. And so it was putting a lot of pressure down low. But now I want to kind of get to one last thing here before we jump, we'll spend like one or two more minutes on it, was obviously the news about us not getting the transfer from Campbell. He went to Arizona. Cedric Henderson. Yep. And so my kind of initial thought wasn't really too surprised. I feel like that honestly, Big T coming back, I feel like maybe had something to do with that. Just because it's a very crowded room now. Now, if Cedric came to the table with us, that was kind of my initial thought. Do you guys agree on that?
Yeah,
I think didn't help.
Yeah. Like he's taking visits to Texas Tech and Arizona, who are two like top 10, top 15 programs right now, and
sure,
I think we probably would have landed him if Terquavion doesn't come back, but he obviously wanted to go play at a big time program, and I think he would have been willing to do that if he was going to be the kind of a focal point of the offense here. But, Smith coming back obviously limits those minutes he would have gotten.
Well, and I think, too, that like with how State was set up for this upcoming season, and then basically how Arizona and Texas Tech will probably be in the same boat where basically they have a lot of guys, but Cedric could come in and play minutes. It's like, if I'm Cedric, would I rather go to somewhere like Arizona and Texas Tech where I feel more confident about chances playing, in the big lights, whatever it is, rather than basically coming to NC State where it's basically it could work out, it might not kind of deal. So, not hating on us necessarily, but I'm more saying that I feel like a lot of fans are more surprised about it than maybe I was. So that's why I wanted to be like, am I crazy for thinking that? But just, but again, hey, I'd rather have Big T coming back than any other transfer in that portal right now. So, so we'll move on over here to one of the biggest accomplishments from one of our PAC pros or, PAC alumni in the induction of Debbie Antonelli, former NC State women's basketball player, into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame class of 2022. So just wanted to give you a huge shout out. Congratulations to her again. It's been amazing to see. One of the things I loved, especially this past year, was at the KL cancer game for NC State women's basketball, seeing her basically be the MC and lead the show. And just it's so very obvious how much she still loves NC State, how much she loves KL, how much she loves this program, how much she loves Wes Moore. And again, it's so great to just see a former NC State player, former NC State alumni, give back so much to the university. And now she gets some of the acquisition that she rightfully deserves, as being a part of the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame by not only what she did as a player, but more of what she did as a commentator, in reporting in sports and and for the game of women's basketball. So, yeah. So Greg, anything to add in on that?
No, I think she's just a great ambassador for not only the women's game, but NC State in general. She represents the school with such grace and class. She calls games very well, either male or female. She's very fair when she calls it. So no, I couldn't be more proud or happy that she got this this honor.
Yeah,
I believe she was on the Olympic team too, if I'm not mistaken. I think she got a gold medal.
I believe that's right too. Again, I mean, she had a really good career as a player, but I mean, I think that most people know her more about what she's done as a commentator, and obviously, being calling some of these games where because I mean, let's be real. I mean, especially in men's sports, it's usually more men commentators that call men's games. But I mean, to see that somebody like Debbie Antonelli consistently calling men's college basketball games, you name it. Again, I mean, just huge hats off to her, and again, the movement that's going on right now with women in sports right now. So, and she's definitely right up there with some of the biggest names of the women's in sports movement.
She's one of the best, like you're saying, commentators out there, male or female, and I'm glad we get to watch her a lot on the women's side because and claim her, because like you said, it's women's sports is growing. Obviously at NC State, we talked about it. We got a lot of good women's programs, but kind of the media coverage isn't always the best on women's sports still. So when you get Debbie on a game, though, it's going to be good.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so one more tweet of the week here before we head on to Tuffy's mailbag here. We got one from Wolfpack. We got to give a shout out to our guy Wolfpack World for giving some heat to UNC Wrestling. And so just to kind of give some background to those who are listening in here with us, UNC Wrestling basically put together a little video clip of some of the highlights that they've had. Where they had, I think it was like
who cares? Just keep it moving.
Champions last year. I mean. They won their first national championship 2 years ago. Like, just talking about all the accolades they've had over the last couple of years. And then Wolfpack will basically quote you and said, when they said 10-10-10, all I was thinking was 10 straight losses to Pac Wrestling, which is going to happen this upcoming season. Yeah. For those who don't know, State has beaten UNC in wrestling 9 straight times. So, this is.
We're not rivals.
But we're not rivals. We're not rivals. Well, and one thing too, which I want to bring up was, for those who to follow us on Twitter, I put out a tweet about the UNC fan from the Arkansas game, upset and saying, don't worry, UNC fans, beating Arkansas in the Super Regionals isn't for everybody. And the amount of UNC comments on it was hilarious. And again, I mean, I get it. We lost an ACC championship, and hey, I get it, rightfully so. But I'm saying right now, we have the dirt over you. That's all I'm saying. Right now we have it over you. But other than that, yes, you beat us in the ACC championship. You beat us during this regular season. Whatever, we get it. But at the end of the day, we beat Arkansas at Arkansas. You lost both your games, 2 games in a row, and you weren't even sold out, even though that the second game was only delayed by like an hour or 2. Like, come on. So, anyway, but yeah, just had to bring that up. But anyway, kind of getting back to the wrestling side. Yeah, I mean, just again, it's setting up for a great year at for in-state wrestling, especially versus UNC. That'd be awesome to hold over the head. We won 10 straight against them. I still remember with football where we won 4 straight, and there was players that came out with brooms, saying we got to sweep on them, stuff like that. And so I wonder if if we get 10, does that
they should have some rooms right there near the bench. They could just hold them.
Honestly, I think they should just hand out 10s for every fan in attendance, and then we'll just hold up 10s just the whole match. Yeah, that'd be hilarious. I like it. Good one. Yeah. Well, because it's at UNC this year, so even better. Even better.
Yeah, it'd be hilarious.
Well, and especially too, we have to play at their big gym because we have the small gym, right? So we get to go play them at the big gym. How lucky we are, right? So, and because it's also Carmichael, am I correct?
It's Carmichael.
Yeah. So, no, it should be fun. Now,
Leighton,
one thing
I say we go Leighton and print up a bunch of 10s, and any state fan we see there, we'll just hand them out.
Hand out 10s. I like it.
And then
We'll
we'll
do
just
it.
leave all the. And then when we leave, we'll just leave all the tins on the seats as we
We'll do
leave
it.
the building.
I like this. We're gonna clip this clip, and we're gonna send it out. We're gonna tweet it out, being like, "Hey, just so y'all know, this is coming. So be on the lookout here."
Yeah.
And one other thing too, which I want to bring up in terms of for college baseball, I thought of it was obviously one of the biggest things which stood out was Ole Miss, who was one of the last four in, is now heading to the College World Series. And so for all the crap that we gave the No Clue at All organization about that call, not necessarily say it was that, picking Ole Miss was better than NC State, but I mean, for Ole Miss to have now made it to the College World Series, if you're an NC State fan, you go, but the other two were, the other couple were Grand Canyon, Liberty, and Dallas Baptist.
Dallas Baptist.
Some of the others.
Those are the main three that,
Just remember this: a broken clock is right twice a day.
Right.
Right. I agree. So
you looked at me when you said that, Greg.
Did I?
Did I though? How can you know? So I mean, obviously, hats off to Ole Miss on that. I gotta give y'all credit. That was a heck of a super regional sweep against Southern Miss at Southern Miss. And then also too, lastly, gotta talk about our other friends in the West, or whatever. I'm terrible. Sorry, East. Greenville. Duh. Towards the beach.
I mean, it literally has East in the name.
Shut it, Greg. Okay, shut it there. All right. God. Well, again, because now I'm not in Raleigh anymore like it used to be. So like I was like kind of doing it on my head, and anyway. Yes, East friends.
Justify it however you want.
Yeah. Come on, golly, Greg. All right, I'm out of here. All right. So anyway, so our friends to the East in ECU going against Texas, losing in the third game. And one of the biggest things which I wanted to kind of give a shout out here was to the fans. Got to give a huge shout out to the fans who were ridiculous. I mean, because basically kind of give some background here. So they were supposed to have started at 4 p.m. Eastern time. They played basically like 2 outs, 1 out actually. They played 1 out. Texas went up 4-0, and then they delayed the game due to lightning. And then they didn't come back. They didn't restart the game until like 10:20 p.m. Last night. And so literally they were basically only 1 out into a full baseball game, and they started at like 10:20 at night. So I don't even think they got done until like 12:31 in the morning, at least, something like that. And so, and there was still probably half full. The stadium was still probably half full. And there was even a story as well of an ECU fan that literally drove his wife home, which was an hour and a half away, and then came back to watch the game. And I'm like, and I told my wife that, and she said, that wouldn't happen. I wouldn't allow you to go back. I'm like,
okay.
I'm like, well, maybe for most fans, but for me, especially with the trip to Omaha on the line. But but I also too got to admit that, especially too, that if I'm an NC State fan and I like the Texas gets 4 runs on me in 1 out, I'm thinking back in my head like,
do I want to go back?
Like that's rough. And of course, ECU this year has especially late in the year has been really good offensively. So did I think it was insurmountable? No. But was it a huge kick in the gonads right from the get-go? It's like, yeah, that's a pretty tough pill to swallow.
Oklahoma whooped Virginia Tech too. And did you see
crazy.
The little see you later thing by the pitcher at the last strikeout?
I didn't, but that's
he goes.
Yeah. I love it.
It was pretty awesome.
I love it.
I'm a Hokie fan too, but like that was like it was 11-2 Oklahoma.
Yep.
Yeah, they.
What do you think about the NCAA taking away their hammer?
I don't get it.
Stupid.
It's whatever. Yeah.
What
I
hammer?
Don't get it.
Oklahoma has a hammer?
No, Virginia Tech did.
Virginia Tech, yeah.
So like the NCAA, the NCAA invoked a rule that is there, but it was pretty weak. So every time, like the turnover chain and like those things that are now popular in sports, every time Virginia Tech hits a home run, they have like this big old sledgehammer.
Big thing.
So when they round the bases, they give the guy the sledgehammer and he jumps up and goes boom, like he's like putting the hammer down.
Thor,
like Thor, yeah. But anyway, the NCAA took it away because it promotes
I'm gonna tell you what.
sportsmanship.
This is just me, my personal thing. I think that all that stuff is so stupid. I don't care if it's even the NC State or thing. I'm just like,
Yeah.
if they like it, they like it. Who cares?
Yeah.
But,
They're kids,
Yeah.
right?
And it's
But-
Yeah.
like they took the sledgehammer away, but there's a dugout
still
full
did
of
the
backs
action.
right there.
Or they still did the
Exactly.
He's
action.
one of those. Yeah, that
They
too.
still, I mean, like,
Yeah.
whatever.
It's just like the pushing players as immediately as they try and start watching a home run
Yeah.
ball. It's like,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
whatever, guys. Like, like talk to Tennessee. Look at Tennessee, and I was like, seriously, I think you have to worry more about stuff that
Players
that's
flipping off
that's
the
more of
other
on
team as
sports
they're going around the base.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
terrible.
staring each other down, or
Yeah.
motions or whatever. It's silly.
So anyway, though, all right, y'all. Well, we will head in here to our Tuffy's mailbag to wrap things up. Here we go. All right. So our question today is from Greg Clemens, and he asked, "Why have we not heard from Coach Avon about the snubbing on Selection Day and the Tommy White departure?" Greg, any initial thoughts on that?
We all know Coach Avon's a very classy guy. Always takes the high road, at least publicly, and I think just more of that. Just he's not one of the guys that would likes to flame the fire or throw fuel on the fire. So I think it's just his way of how he handles it. I don't maybe agree with it, but that's who he is, and that's who he's always been. I don't think he's going to change because of one different situation. Just dating back to the Pac-13 in the Omaha situation, he said what he had to, but kept it pretty politically correct.
Yeah. And because really kind of looking at it, because there's really two questions. Obviously because the selection snubbing is different than the Tommy situation, because the snubbing is more towards the NCAA, while this Tommy White snubbing is not really towards Tommy White, but it's more of like to talk to fans of how we're going to handle it. And first, to how he's going to handle it, you don't need to say anything to tell us how you're going to handle it. You're just going to rebuild it. You're going to find somebody else, just
to
me, like, what do you want him to say? Like, what do you want him to come up and be like, "Oh man, like without Tommy White, we're really going to be struggling next year." Like, no,
I don't think,
and he's not going to trash the guy.
Exactly.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is not him, and I hope that's not anybody on NC State's coaching staff and any of our sports that would trash talk a player. So, Macon, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I think it just harkens back to the thing we talked about last time with that old Dominion player. He had 17 home runs, comes in. He probably plays better defense. You hate losing the guy who has the record. But at the end of the day, he did it when he's in NC State jersey, so you have that record. And if he has success, good for him. But
absolutely.
I don't, like you said, Evan's a very classy guy, and I would never expect him to say anything on the Tommy White situation. I could see him saying something on the tournament, but
I got a question. Do you think State would ever market the fact that throughout moving forward, we've got the record for most home runs by freshmen because that's specific to Tommy White?
I don't know.
Well,
it's kind of it's there.
Well, think about this. He never hit more than 9 home runs before coming here, so you can say coaching had something to do with it.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, especially too, because overall, I think heading into the season, again, losing 7 of our 7 players from our batting lineup last year, and really looking at overall how all of them did this year batting the ball. It's a pretty impressive turnaround.
I think they should market it because that's once in a lifetime generation type of record. Yeah. So do it.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what he does too, wherever he goes next, whether it's FSU or wherever, being now, do we see a little bit of a decline? Because that'd be interesting too. But
and jokingly, I said this earlier, do you really think, I asked this to you guys before we even thought he was going to leave, but it was do you really think Tommy White's going to be able to repeat what he did? Personally?
No, now.
No,
I don't know. I don't know. I genuinely thought, I don't know. He seems like a sell high kind of player. If you're into the dynasty or fantasy ball stuff, a sell high, it's hard for me to say he's going to break another record next year. Maybe he does.
But he might. Yeah.
He might. He totally might. And that'd be great for him. But it's just
sure.
The odds of that happening are a whole lot greater for it not to, if you ever make sense. So
But who's this Tommy White guy you're mentioning? I don't know him. I've never heard of him. So
I heard he once had a fan club.
There's a Thomas White in the portal.
Yeah, I heard there was these 4 guys that had this YouTube channel that like started a fan club for him. What losers they are!
Why don't we look like a bunch of schmucks now?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, again, and then talking about the selection committee side, I mean, I feel like if anybody's going to really say something about the selection committee stuff, it's got to be Boo. It's not really the head coach's job. Now, I mean, Dorn, he said something, but I think that's because he's salty Dorn, and that's who he is. Like, I think that he's salty, and I love it. It kind of plays, especially in that moment, because I mean, that clip is going to be played for decades and generations and millenniums. Like that clip of no clue at all, that is just going to be and forever in the NCAA's mind. No clue at all.
But wouldn't you consider that just playing it up for the fans? Like, do you think, like, sincerely, the message really gets to anyone other than the fans? So that's essentially what Avent would be doing, is just playing it up to the fans.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It wouldn't. It's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that if anybody can change something, it would be potentially the AD, but not likely. But the AD would have more of the power to change something than the head coach would. So, but at the end of the day, it's not going to change. But I mean, but in terms of that, we all agree that the ACC should have some representation on the committee. There's no doubt about that. I think that's something that Boo Corrigan should absolutely be knocking down doors on. And I think that he gets a lot of support from a lot of ADs to make that happen, because it makes no sense. It makes no sense that we got snubbed, but it is what it is. And also too, now we are only about a week and we're actually 2 weeks away from being 365 days since the College World Series snub. So if the NCAA wants to add a 5th one within 365 days, they only have about 2 more weeks to do it. So which what are they gonna do? Take away the cheese roll, cheese national championship?
Yeah, no, really.
That the roll was the grass was not
sanctioned properly.
Sanctioned properly. I don't know. But yeah. So anyway, well, thank you all so much again for tuning in. Really do appreciate all the support, and again, hope y'all have enjoyed this Tuffy Talk live show so far. Send us some comments. Let us know in the direct messages, whatever it may be, what y'all's thoughts are, what you guys would like to see in terms of new segments as well. We're always looking for ideas of some new segments to kind of arrange this to make it more NC State fan, Wolfpack Nation friendly, so that we can get more and more of us here talking NC State athletics together. But with that being said, as a reminder as well, hit that subscribe button so you do not miss out, as this week we will be coming out with, and speaking of the Cheese Will winner, we're going to be actually coming out with our interview with Abby Lampy, the UK Cheese Wheel champion. Queen will be coming out.
Queen of England. We're going to interview the Queen of England.
The Queen of England.
Queen of England.
Wait a minute. Wait, sorry, I'm getting confused here.
That would be the ultimate clickbait.
Yeah. We interview the Queen of England.
You should do that. Like, hey, you heard it here first on the Tuffy Talk Show.
We interviewed the Queen of England, and then in very small.
You didn't know the Queen of England was a State fan, but here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, no, you should even
Imagine seeing the Queen of England running.
We interviewed
the cheese.
The Queen. We interviewed the Queen. Cheese rolling champion. Anyway, so make sure so that way you make sure you do not miss out whenever we release that episode. Make sure again, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell as well, so that way you're notified when that episode goes live. And also to give this video a like if you don't mind as well, and also give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now, on Twitter and Instagram if you haven't already. But with that being said, thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, go Pack, y'all.